So my view of Lutnick is he seems like I don't want to use yes man, that's maybe a bit of a harsh term, but he's going to do whatever the boss wants. And he's been pretty clear about that. As I said, he doesn't have a long sort of paper trail himself on these issues. But if President Trump wants to do 20% across the board tariffs or 50 or 60% on China, Mr. Lutnick will support that and drive the process. Not only at the Commerce Department, but it sounds like from today's announcement, across the government. So, Trump was pretty clear about his enthusiasm for tariffs. Again, this Treasury job is really going to be interesting. If it's Kevin Warsh or Scott Bessent, they're not really enthusiastic about tariffs. It would suggest that Trump has set up a situation where he's going to let these people debate for several months. But I don't see how we avoid at some point, either sooner or, in the next 18 months, some kind of significant move on tariffs on China. It's not clear that there's much point in negotiating after China failed to meet its phase one commitments, after well over a year of pretty torturous negotiations. So there's not a lot of talk here of a new set of negotiations. It's possible if Trump wanted to punt for a year or so and deal with other issues, they could try to put the phase one deal back together, but that seems like a long shot. And again, China doesn't have a lot of credibility in the eyes of a lot of U.S. policymakers. So yeah. I think tariffs are coming.
And Brian, just lastly, of course, the more sort of important question is how China builds up a defense against that. From what you're seeing, you believe that the stimulus so far has been a bit of a dud. How does China, bring back some of that confidence, particularly in the economy, but as far as global investors are concerned as well, but to also protect as a shield against that potential Trump trade policy?
You in your intro, you mentioned the term dry powder, and Chinese policymakers are doing a very good job of fostering the market's confidence that they have dry powder. My view is they have no powder. They have nothing. There's really nothing they're going to be able to do if the U.S. slaps 50% tariffs on everything we import from China. The central government has very clearly revealed its strong reluctance, I would say almost fear, of using the central government balance sheet either to bail out local governments or prop up the economy via some kind of consumption stimulus, which would, invert the trade surplus and undercut the currency. So they are stuck with this currency peg. We're now a week into fixity in the fixing. So they're fixing at 7.19 every day, which is an off-market rate after several months of market-based fixings. They're now back to turtling on the exchange rate. And unless they're willing to let that exchange rate go, I would suggest there's not much, if anything, they can do to defend themselves against a big hit from U.S. tariffs. You'll see China go into recession.